So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Today we'll keep back here at BSN Arc. This is the BSN Arc podcast here today. It is Friday, October 2nd. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I did, and I'm having a good day so far today. Last night was the Thursday night game. The Jets lose once again. Just unbelievable how awful we are. We lose once again. We now have to face the Arizona Cardinals next week. Just horrible. Just absolutely horrible. I am 1-0 my Week 4 game picks to start it off with my correct game pick last night. I'll go through the Jets game. I mean, the Jets did not play bad, but they did not play great either. Late game mistakes were a problem. I mean, this is the most points they scored in a game all season. The Jets cannot do anything right. Their offensive line's messed up yesterday. It's just awful. It's just awful. There's not much else you can do with this team, really, than just get rid of Gaze and start over. So there is a lot of problems with this team. I'll get into that. Today we got another Football Friday, NFL game picks, Jets and Giants. We'll talk about both of those games. Jets game last night, then the Giants game coming up. We got the fantasy football overview, players you should start, players you should sit, players you could add off of waiver wires, and kind of just the questionables and just overall fantasy football in general. And we'll finish out the podcast with Yankees. We're going to talk a little bit of the Yankees, kind of previewing a little bit of that head start going into the Rays series. And then we'll do the MLB playoff picks and then college football game picks. Miami does not play this weekend. They play next week, a big game against Clemson, which should be good. So no Miami talk today as they have a bye week this week. So the Jets and the Broncos is first up on our slate. So with all that being said, this is the BSN Arc podcast, and let's get right into it. So the Jets and the Broncos play last night. Jets lose. They win, or the Broncos win 37-28. I mean, It's horrible. It is getting worse every game. And we're not going to fire Gaze. Reports come out that Christopher Johnson's going to let the horribleness last the whole year. So we're going to let him coach 12 more games for us. And we're probably going to go on 16. I am not kidding when I say that. Look at the Jets schedule. Where in the universe do you see a win? Where in the world do you see a win? Okay. I mean, this is just horrible. This is horrible. Week in and week out, we can't do anything correct. We are literally not like any other NFL team. Every other NFL team, competitive in games, they aren't that bad. I understand you could be 0-4 in another NFL game and, other teams, and they're probably saying horrible. But, I mean, the Jets are just on a different level of horrible. They're on a different level of horrible. They're on a level I feel like nobody has ever hit before. I mean, it is just awful watching this team week in and week out fail over and over and over and over again. And Darnold didn't play that bad last night. But I'll tell you what, he was not able to get protection. 6 sacks he endured and 2 of them who came late. We couldn't even convert on the fourth. Darnold didn't even have any time to convert on the fourth down. He was playing with a sprained shoulder the whole game because he got sacked in the first quarter because our horrible offensive line, who are the genius of the GM we're supposed to have, said he really rebuilt it. Our backups are horrible. Our offensive line is horrible outside of Mekhi Becton and George Font. They were both out last night, and look what they did. They ruined the game. Here we go again, just like last year. This game reminded me a lot like last year. 4th down and 3. Darnold draws back, gets absolutely whooped, and he gets sacked. Can't get a playoff. You can't blame that on Darnold. We're supposed to have a draft pick who is supposed to be a solid backup offensive line. We haven't even used them. Instead, last night we have to go to our third string left tackle, and it was horrible. I don't know why in the world we spent our money, spent our time picking up Connor McDermott. What is he going to do helpful for us? He was horrible last night. You can't possibly win a game when your quarterback's getting sacked every play. Horrible. Now, one positive from this game was, I think this is the best Darnold's looked all season. I think this is the best he's looked. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I think the defense looked bad. The defense was meh. The defense didn't play horrible. They had 3 interceptions, 2 by Desir, 1 by Poole, 1 being a pick six. Their defense killed them penalties. The Jets shot themselves in the foot. You had the offensive line mistakes. You had the defensive penalties. I mean, it was horrible. You also had these open receivers downfield where nobody was in coverage. I mean, you're talking about a play, 5 minutes left in the game. They leave a guy wide open downfield. It was a bad pass by Brett Rippon, but it was a great it would have been a great play if he would have connected with him. I mean, you're talking about a third string quarterback, a guy making his start. And the Jets defense shot themselves. I mean, what did we have? We had like 13 penalties. We had so many penalties on defense. And you can't possibly have that. In no way can you have it. And you know what really annoys me is at the end of the game, we got our defensive linemen breaking right through the offensive line, trying to sack their quarterback because they're angry. Why couldn't you have done that when the game actually counted? Why couldn't you have done that? Right, you're sacking the quarterback. Oh, yeah, look at me. I'm Mr. Big Guy here. I'm sacking the quarterback when there's 3 seconds left in the game and you're down by 9 and you're going to lose because they're trying to take a knee. I mean, come on. Are you that stupid? I mean, the Jets here. The Jets defensive line, right? Steve McClendon being one of them. He decides to drive right through the line, push down Brett Rippon, be like, oh yeah, look, I'm Mr. Tough Guy. Guess what? He was quiet the whole entire game. Oh, 10 seconds left in the game when it means absolutely nothing. Oh, let me sack their quarterback. Gets a personal foul. Another personal foul. Just leave. Just leave. If you're not going to show up in the first 3 quarters when they count, and then you're going to show up 5 seconds left in the game, why in the world are you playing? It's the best I've ever seen him play. 5 seconds left in the game when it doesn't even count. What the heck are you doing? No sense in doing that. There was no reason for Steve McClendon to break through the defensive line like that and do that. There was dirty play by the Jets, bad defensive penalties, bad offensive line. And we actually stayed in this game. We were winning in the fourth quarter for that moment. And then we just shot ourselves in the foot again with getting sacked. I mean, your franchise quarterback can't possibly throw the ball if every single play he finds himself on the ground. Like, oh my gosh, 6 sacks. He endured 6 sacks. One of them taking him to the locker room because he had to get checked out. Because he got absolutely whooped on his shoulder. And I'm telling you, the guy can't throw to a receiver, okay? This is common sense. Guy can't throw to a receiver if he's on the ground. I mean, gosh, our offensive line was horrible. Telling you, man. The Jets were in this game for a little bit there. And in late game, they let it slip away. And you don't have half those penalties, you can forget about it. We might win. Penalties hurt us. At this point, I don't even care. Let the Jets go 0-16. Let us get the first pick. And let's see what we do. If we do get in Trevor Lawrence, hopefully that doesn't turn into Darnold. Because Darnold's career with us has been ruined. Because look what we got him. No receivers, no line, no coach. Look what we done to him. So I hope Darnold, if we go 0-16, I hope Darnold finds himself on another team and does insane. Because that just goes to show you. Horrible coach, horrible franchise to begin with. And Adam Gase is still our head coach. So we're going 0-16. Because look at their schedule. We're not getting another win. Now, people could blab on and on and on about the Dolphins. No, we're not winning against the Dolphins. More than likely, we won't win against the Dolphins. At least the Dolphins have been competitive. This was the first game. You know, let's clap it up. Because this was the first game the Jets were actually in it going into halftime. The first 3 games are what? They were down, 21-3? Last week they were 17-7, but either way we ended up losing that game. This was the first time we were down by a single digit deficit. We were down by 4 going into the half. This is the first time, so let's clap that up because at least we stayed in the half. The first 2 games of the season we were down 21-3 at the half, and you could forget about it. Shut the TV off. You ain't watching no more because it's an 18-point game, and sure enough, the other team only adds on more. So the Jets are now sitting at 0-4. Our season's in jeopardy. Our season was in jeopardy before it started because Gaze was the head coach. And, it's just horrible. And we still have Gaze as our head coach. And Gaze is angry, too. Well, it's part of his fault, the reason. I thought Gaze was this offensive genius that was supposed to make Darnold Tom Brady. Look what he's done to the guy. He's absolutely destroyed him. I'm Adam Gaze, and I'm going to make Darnold Tom Brady. Yeah, it looks a lot like Tom Brady out there. I'm an offensive genius. I know everything. The guy who supposedly invented the offense knows everything about it. He's supposed to be this offensive genius, this offensive mastermind, and he's done nothing but make this team worse. So, the Jets lose by 9. Kicker had a good game. Darnold went 23 of 42, 230 yards, 70.5 passer rating. 10 yards was average. He took 6 sacks. There's just no room for that. It's tough to take 6 sacks, telling you that for sure. Crowder had 104 yards. Jeff Smith had 81 yards. Chris Herndon drops a pivotal pass. Another guy who Gaze talks so highly of. Oh, he's going to be a great season. He's playing like you're coaching. We didn't do it. The Jets just didn't do much. And I'm also confused, too, why the Jets what their play calling was in the red zone. Gaze is so angry at the red zone. We got to score there. Well, why don't you call the correct play? Why in the world? I'm nothing against Frank Gore here. But why in the world, when you have a receiver in Jamison Crowder who came back and was having a good game, why in the world do you throw to a running back who is tightly covered? And I'm telling you this for sure. Gaze told him to throw it to him because Darnold looked nowhere else. Darnold only looked to Gore. And you know how bad it's getting? Darnold can't call an audible. It's Gaze's call or nothing. Darnold doesn't call an audible. Audible is where if you see something that's bad, you could change the play. He can't do that. Gaze gives him the play, and that's it. So Darnold has no control out there. But Gaze is a brilliant, genius offensive mind that's going to really help this team win games. He's been nothing but a miserable head coach and has made this team awful. We were already awful. He's made this team, what's worse than awful? Atrocious? I don't even know. So the Jets lose again. We're 0-4. And 12 more losses and we're 0-16. So, we're not winning next week, I can tell you that for sure. We're not winning next week. We're not winning the week after that because then we play the Chargers. We're not winning the week after that, the Bills. That Chiefs game's actually going to be scary. We might as well forfeit. The Chiefs might actually win like 49-3. That's a game I don't even want to that's actually scary. Then we have the Chiefs, then we have the Patriots. Then the Dolphins are upcoming. Then the Raiders. Raiders are playing good football. Then the Browns. Browns are above 500. I think the remaining of our schedule is above 500 or they are 500. I don't know. What is the Dolphins? Are the Dolphins 1-2 or 2-1? I think the Dolphins are 1-2. So the rest of our schedule only features one below 500 team. Because what? We play the Browns, they're above 500. We still have to play the Raiders, still have to play the Patriots, still have to play the Bills, Chiefs, Seahawks, they're all above 500. Chargers, no, I don't think they're above 500. No, they are. Yeah, they are, because they're 1-2, because they lost last week. So the only 2 games that we come up that are teams that below 500 are the Chargers and the Dolphins. And those 2 teams are still going to probably beat us because the Dolphins are in games. They almost beat the Bills. They were close against the Bills. Chargers almost beat the Chiefs. They took them into overtime. So those 2 teams can obviously show they can win and compete with some of the top teams in the league. What have the Jets done? They only lost to a third-string quarterback. They lost to the Bills. They lost to the Niners. Lost to the Niners, Broncos, Bills, and Colts. So Jets can't get their act together. Other teams, like the Jets coming up, you might look at the record and be like, this game's horrible. Well, you got to look. They've been competitive. They've been at least competing in games. So the Jets fall to 0-4, and here we go, one step closer to the 0-16 season. I'm calling it right now. We go 0-16. Where in the world? Let me read you the Jets' schedule coming up. Okay, let me just read you how bad it is. All right? Let me just read it to you. All right? Let's read it. Okay. They lost to the Broncos. All right? We have the Cardinals, Chargers, Bills, Chiefs, Patriots, Dolphins, then a bye week, then the Dolphins again, Raiders, Seahawks, Rams, Browns, Patriots. Tell me where you find a win. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. We don't find a win, exactly. All right, so now we move on to the NFL games for this week. I'll preview the Giants game later on. So let's get into it. It is Football Friday and my game picks. Here we go. First up, Cowboys versus the Browns. I know a lot of people, Cowboys are 4.5-point favorites. Over-under is 56. I know a lot of people are really dialing in this game when they're talking about, a team. They're really dialing in this game. They're really taking this game and really honing in on it. I think this is a big game for the Cowboys, big game for the Browns. I really do think if the Cowboys lose this game, they're in a slight bit jeopardy. 1-3, not a good spot, not what you want to be in. Browns, on the other hand, they have a little bit more, leeway. They lose this game, okay, you're still sitting at 500 between the first 4 games, not bad. Cowboys lose this game, you're 1-3 in a weak division, but you just haven't played your best football. I say the Cowboys win this game, and the reason I say this is I just think the offense, at the end of the day, I think the offense will just overpower. I think the offense is better than the Browns' offense, right? Odell Beckham's really hasn't been that much of an impact. Landry's been meh. It's been more the running game. It's more been Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, not Landry, Hooper, and Beckham. I know Beckham had that one good game against the Bengals, but, that's also the Bengals secondary who isn't anything special. Okay, neither is the Cowboys, but I just don't see Beckham having a great game. Cowboys, I think, win this game. I actually take the over here on the over-under. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be like 42-38. 42-35, actually, I'll give it. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a shootout. So I take the over on the over-under of 56. Cowboys win. Next up, we got the Cardinals and the Panthers. I say Cardinals win this game. I think this is pretty obvious. I understand Cardinals are coming off of a really, really, really bad loss against the Lions. Bad performance by Kyler Murray. I think they'll turn it around. It's a Panthers team who won last week that I was actually surprised they won. I think they'll turn it around, though. I think the Cardinals will turn it around, and I think they'll win. I think this is pretty obvious. I just don't foresee. I don't think the Panthers aren't bad, but they're just not the Cardinals. I think Cardinals win and move to 3-1 on the season. Next up, we got the Chargers and the Buccaneers. This is going to be an interesting game. I just think it's going to be closer. Oh, by the way. Over-under is 51.5 for that game. Cardinals 3.5-point favorites. I say Cardinals win 31-17. I'll take the under on the over-under. Next up, we got the Buccaneers and the Chargers. The Buccaneers 7-point favorites. Chargers over-under is 43.5. I actually think it's going to be a relatively close game. I don't think the Buccaneers run away with this game. I know a lot of experts have them running away with this game like 35-14. I actually don't think that. I understand the Chargers I understand Chargers lost last week, but I don't think it's going to be a runaway. I do think the Buccaneers will cover with the 7, but I think a lot of people think that, I think a lot of people are thinking like that they're just like, I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. I actually have 31-24 Buccaneers win. I know a lot of people have the Buccaneers putting up 40 this game. I know some people do. I just don't foresee that happening. I just still don't trust completely the Buccaneers offense. Because what I've seen is a lot of meh, not much very good. I've seen meh. From what a lot of people talk about this offense, I haven't seen anything crazy. I've seen a couple of meh throws by Brady. I've seen a couple of good plays here and there. But it's nothing crazy. It's nothing really for me to really be like, oh yeah, this team's a stamp automatic win. I do think they win, but I think it's closer. I do think they'll win by 7, but I don't think they win by 21 or 14 or more. I think it's 7. Chargers lose 31-24, which means I'll take the under or the over on the over-under of 43.5 with the Buccaneers. Next up, we got the Colts and the Bears. This is going to be an interesting game. Bears come in over under 43. Colts come in 2.5-point favorites here. I understand the Bears are 3-0. I totally get that. I understand that. It is Nick Foles, his first start with, kind of a new receiving core, a new offense. And you're talking about possibly going up against one of the league's best defenses in the Indianapolis Colts. They've had a great season so far on defense. And for a quarterback to make his first start of the season in a new system against a defense like that is just not something I would want to do if I was the Chicago Bears, meaning just not something I would like if I was a fan of the Chicago Bears. Not that I'm saying start Trubisky, I'm just saying a game like this. I understand the Bears are 3-0. I get it. I understand that they're underdogs. I understand that the Colts are the favorites, and I actually do take the Colts here just because of the whole Nick Foles. Not that I'm saying Nick Foles is going to have a bad game, but he might have a little bit of rust. This is his first game starting against a very good defense. Last week he played well, but guess who he's playing? Probably one of the league's worst defenses in the Atlanta Falcons. So he's playing up against a real defense now, a real good secondary, a real good defensive front, so you really can't rely on running the ball all that much. So he's going to have to really, really, really play well in this game. And if he plays well and they win, you're talking about the Bears and a very good. The Bears are the oddest 3-0 team. They could very well be. This is a team that had to bench their starter last week and they're still 3-0. It's so weird how they're 3-0. But I do think the Bears win, or the Colts win. I think it's going to be close. And it's going to be a lower scoring game. And it's going to be a defensive battle. 24-21 Colts win. And I will take the over on the over-under of 43. So 24-21 Colts win. And to be a close game, I just think Colts defense propels late. Now we have the Jaguars-Bengals. Bengals come in 0-2-1. Jaguars come in 1-2. I'm just riding high with the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are all that bad of a team. I think they're a decent team. They got receivers. They got a quarterback. Their defense isn't amazing, but for some reason, I see them winning this game. I think I picked the Bengals every game this season. Have I? No, I picked the Chargers over the Bengals, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I picked the Chargers over the Bengals. But I picked the Bengals. Week 1, I picked against the Bengals. Week 2, I picked for the Bengals. That was against the Browns. Week 3, I picked it for the Bengals. That was against the Eagles. Week 4, I picked it for the Bengals. To be honest, I think the Bengals could very well get their first win here. I said that 2 weeks ago, too, but something about the Bengals, I don't think they're all that bad. Their record I think they're a lot better than what their record shows, is what I'm kind of trying to say here. I'm not saying they're a playoff contender. I'm not saying that. What I'm kind of just saying is their record, they're a lot better than what 0-2-1 is what I'm trying to say. I think the Bengals win here. I understand Jaguars won last week. They're kind of riding high. James Robinson, they really trust. Gardner Minshew coming off of a struggling game, but I also think, he was also playing against a bad secondary. He's playing up against another bad secondary. Let's see if he could turn it around. I do think the Bengals will win. Burrows looked good. Boys look good. Ross looked good. Greens look good. T. Higgins has looked good. He's got receivers. His offensive line's been the problem. Burrow has not had much time in the pocket. Got to get better than that. Got to be better than that offensive line. Got a couple new offensive linemen in the draft. Got 2 or 3 young ones. Still developing a little bit. I think the Bengals win this game 24-14. I think they win. Bengals win 24-14. That would put me at the under on the over-under of 49. So now we move on to the Ravens and the Redskins. Ravens come in 14-point favorites. Redskins come in at over-under is 45.5. I understand the Ravens played bad last week, but I just don't foresee the Ravens tripping up this game. I just don't. I really just don't see them tripping up on this game. I understand the Redskins, and the Redskins have been in their games. I just don't foresee the Ravens tripping up on their games. I understand they had a bad performance last week, but I just don't. I just really just don't. For some reason, I just don't see the Ravens tripping up on this game. I understand they played horrible last week, but I think they win this game. I think they win big, too. 35-17, they win, which means I would take the over on the over-under of 45.5. 35-17, I just think their defense is too good. I just think their offense is too good. I understand they struggled last week, but you also got to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who I still think could be very well one of the better teams in the NFL. I just don't foresee them messing up on this game. I understand they messed up against the Chiefs, but I just have a feeling that they're going to bounce back this week and win. Now we move on to the Saints and the Lions. The Saints come in 4-point favorites. Lions and the over-under is 54. Saints only come in 4-point favorites. They're 1-2. These are two 1-2 teams. This is one of these games, man, where you're sitting here and the Lions pull this one out. You're talking about a 1-3 Saints team. You're talking about possibly what's going on. I know a lot of people. There's been a lot of talk around the Saints and Drew Brees, and is his age really coming out now? He's struggled in the first couple of weeks of the season. He has not been the Drew Brees we saw last year and in years past. We've always talked about, and I've been a big person to say this, is I've always said he handles his age as the best player in the NFL. Him and Gore do. Him and Gore are still playing at a high level at the ages they're at. Brady, on the other hand, he's older than Brees and stuff, but I don't think Brady's all that good anymore. Brees, I still think, at the beginning of the season, I thought Brees was a top 5 quarterback. Now he's definitely slipped out of my top 10 the way he's played this season. The Lions, it's a possibility, but I don't have it happening. I do think the Saints win this game, but I'm telling you, if the Saints lose this game, there's going to be a lot of chatter around, is just Brees return next year? There's going to be a lot of I think there might be a little bit of chatter around that. Does Brees return next year? You're sitting at 1-3, and if Brees has another one of these games where he only throws for like 150 yards and maybe a touchdown and a pick, there's a chance you get some rumblings about, does Brees play next year? Because 1-3 is not a good spot to be in going into week 5. Not a good spot to be in. So I do think the Saints win this game, though. The over-under is 54. I think the Saints win 31-10. And I take the under on the over-under. I just don't think the Lions offense is all that good. Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones Jr., DeAndre Swift, Matthew Stafford, outside of them, offensive line isn't great. Good Saints defense. Saints win 31-10 pretty easily. But I'm just saying, if the Lions win, things can get interesting. So now we move on to the Seahawks and the Dolphins. This game is one of the most obvious games, I think, of them all to pick. I think the Seahawks are going to put up a ton of points. I think the Seahawks win this game 49-14. I think the Seahawks dominate this game. The Seahawks have been insane. I mean, have you seen them play? I mean, Wilson's throwing 5 touchdowns a game. If Carson's healthy in this game, that would even give me even more of a reason to predict them to score this many points. I think they score 49. I think they win 49-14. I take the over on the over-under 53.5. I think they cover easily. Have you seen the Seahawks team? All around, they're good. Special teams, defense, and offense, all around, they've been good. Russell Wilson probably right now is probably the MVP frontrunner. You got a Dolphins team and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who hasn't played bad, who hasn't played insane. He's played pretty good. Got to admit, he's played pretty good. There's been a lot of talk around, is Fitz even going to start this season? He's showing the NFL, he's showing the Dolphins that he's still got some left in the tank. He's been playing good. Had a good week last week. But you're playing against the Seattle Seahawks, who a lot of people think have an MVP on that team, who a lot of people think they could very well be Super Bowl champions. You're talking about a defense filled with, KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams. You're talking about that defense. And in the offense, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson. If Chris Carson plays and he's healthy, I mean, you're talking about a nasty team. And I think the Seahawks win this game pretty easily. I think they'll move to 4-0 on the season, and they're going to be riding high 4-0. I really do think they'll be one of these teams that, you're really thinking of possibly being a Super Bowl contender. I really do. I think this is one of these games where you could definitely be sitting here and being like, you watch them put up 49, you're like, this team's legit. So Seahawks win against the Dolphins big time, I think. Steelers, Titans is postponed. That game got postponed. That would have been a pretty good game, too. 3-0 teams battling it out. Now we move on to this game. Vikings, Texans. Over-under is 53.5. Vikings are 4-point favorites. I said this earlier on in the week, I think. This is one of the oddest NFL games I've seen all year. 2 0-3 teams that in the beginning of the year, a lot of people had them making the playoffs. Like, these are 2 good 0-3 teams. You're talking about Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller, David Johnson, Brennan Cooks, all those players on the offensive side for the Houston Texans. For the Vikings, it's Adam Thielen, Kyle Rudolph, Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook. On defense, it's Anthony Barr, though he tore his pack. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. These two teams have talent to make the playoffs, and they both did last season. One of the teams almost beating the Kansas City Chiefs, who ended up going on to win a Super Bowl, as you all probably know. This is one of the oddest games of the season. I do say the Texans win here, and the reason I say they win is because the Vikings have looked horrible on offense, and all the Texans defense I think has to do is just stop the run game, and there you go, you win. And Texans defense strength is their defensive front. So I do think the Texans will win this game. It needs to be actually low scoring. 24-17 Texans win, and I take the under on the over-under. It needs to be a low scoring game. Vikings defense isn't bad. Texans offense I think will be able to play well. This is one of the oddest games ever. You're talking about 2-0-3 teams going at it who've playoff rosters. So, Texans win, I think. Now we move on to the 4 o'clock games. Giants, Rams, we'll skip that. We'll preview that. And then now we move to the Raiders and the Bills. Raiders come in 2-1. Bills come in with 3-point favorites. Bills come in 3-0. Bills are 3-point favorites. Over-under is 52.5. And this is going to be a good game. I actually think it's going to be a pretty decent game. I don't think it's going to be an overly blowout. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be like a 14-point game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be crazy close. I think it's going to be about in the middle. I think the Bills win this game. Simple reason. Secondary is insane. Here's the one problem with the Bills. They have to be better on the run game. They have to be better stopping the run game. They have to. Because there's a guy named Josh Jacobs who is he's a very good running back in the league. There's a guy I like to call Josh Jacobs who's been insane for the Raiders last season and this season. I mean, just one of these guys where you just have to be like, you got to stop him. You could stop him outside of Darren Waller, Henry Ruggs. I think Derek Carr will struggle with this secondary. You stop Jacobs. That's the key to this game. Bills stop Josh Jacobs, they win. They don't stop Josh Jacobs, they don't win. They got to stop Josh Jacobs. That's what they got to do. Bills offense, throw it all around. Throw it and run. Just mix it up. Raiders defense isn't anything crazy special. Mix it up. I think the Bills win this game 35-20, 35-31. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Almost like last week, I think the Bills might have the lead and slip a little late, but they'll come back and win the game. So I do have the Bills winning this game. Bills moving on to 4-0 and can have complete control of the AFC East. So I do think the Bills will win this game. 35-31. I take the over on the over-under 52.5. Now I move to the Patriots and the Chiefs. Patriots come in at over-under 53. Chiefs are 7-point favorites. Chiefs are 3-0. Chiefs win. Whenever I'm picking the Chiefs, you just kind of got to say with the Chiefs. I understand that, you got to, Chiefs run defense has been very good. I mean, look what they did to Lamar Jackson. They really stopped Lamar Jackson. They do that same thing this week to Cam Newton. That's what they've been relying on the Patriots is their running game. And the Chiefs run defense has been very good. That's why I think they win this game. Patriots have been relying on their run game. Chiefs defense has been insane in the run. Look what they did to what a lot of people think is the best running quarterback of all time. Some people think that, and Lamar Jackson, right? Look what they did to him. They limited to not many yards and not many attempts because they were able to get to him early. I think they'll do that same exact thing to the Patriots. I think they win here. I'll give them the win 38-28. I think they win. And, yeah, they win by 10. So, I think they cover. I take the over on the over-under. I think it's going to be more of one of these high-scoring games. It's going to be a lot of rushing by Cam Newton, but I think a lot of big stops late by the Chiefs, especially late in the game, because I think it's going to be a pretty close game. Chiefs win, and they cover. Next up, we got the Sunday night game, 49ers-Eagles. This is one of these odd games, because you look at the Niners and you think, oh, Joey Bosa, Deebo Samuel, Richard Sherman, Solomon Thomas, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you're George Kittle. And then you're like, realistically, this is your team you're working with. Nick Mullins. Raheem Mostert as well. Right, but then realistically, this is the team you're working with. Nick Mullins, Jerry McKinnon, Javon Kinlaw on defense. Those are your big players. Kittle is going to play this week. Mostert might. Garoppolo isn't. So it's Kittle, Mullins, McKinnon. I'm pretty sure. I don't think Mostert's gonna play. He might. This is interesting. You think of the 49ers Super Bowl roster, and then you got to look at all these injuries they got. I think the 49ers win this game, and I think they win big just because what have you seen out of the Eagles that it makes you impressed? Like, what in the world have you even seen that out of the Eagles that has made you somewhat like they're going to win this game? What in the world have you seen? Let's wait for it. What in the world have you seen out of the Eagles that has made you feel this team can compete against the Niners? With their backup quarter, without, they're not going to win. Niners win this game. 28-17, Niners win. And I'll take the under on the over-under. No. I take the under on the over-under 46. 28-17, Niners win. And then Monday night game is the Packers-Falcons on that game. So these are, now we move on to the Giants game. So the Giants come into this game 0-3, season in jeopardy, even though they're in a weak NFC East. Rams coming into this game 2-1. Over-under is 48. Rams are 13-point favorites. I think this is clear. Rams win this game. I understand that the Giants have been competitive. I understand that. I understand the Rams. This is why I have the Rams 2 winning big in this game. You saw what they did against the Bills. They're frustrated about that loss. They had the lead. They lost. They were getting blown out. They were getting blown out, 28-3. Then they got the lead. Then they lost it late in just probably one of the final plays of the game. I think they're angry, but they had a lot of positives and towards that end of that Bills game. I think those will carry over into this game. I think the Rams win big, 35-10. I think the Rams win. They win big, I think. 35-10, they win. Giants offense couldn't do anything against a broken 49ers defense, nor can they do anything against a healthy Rams defense. 35-10, they lose. And I'll take the under on the over-under 48. So I'm telling you, man, there's no way the Giants are winning this game. There's just no way. And come on the podcast if they win, and I'll tell you I was wrong. I just don't foresee it happening. So these are my game picks for Week 4. Let me just go through them one more time for you. I did predict the Broncos game right, so I'm already 1-0. We got the Cowboys winning, Cardinals winning, Buccaneers winning, Colts winning, Bengals winning, Ravens winning, Saints winning, Seahawks winning, Steelers-Titans game was postponed, Texans winning, Rams winning, Bills winning, Chiefs winning, and then the 49ers winning, and then the Monday night games, Packers-Falcons, which I will preview on Monday night. So that's exciting. So that's what I got for my game picks for the Week 4 of the NFL season. So exciting. I'm excited. Hopefully you are as well. It's going to be another good week of football ahead of us. We got another full packed weekend of football ahead of us. So that's good. That's always makes you happy, right? So another full weekend of football ahead of us, which is good. Jets don't play this weekend, obviously, because they played last night and lost, which was expected. But yeah, so now we move on to fantasy. So now we move on to fantasy. So actually, in fantasy, I'm right now projected to beat my opponent in my one league, 121.2 to 109.2. So I'm projected to win by 12. So that's interesting. I think I'll win. Hopefully I win. I'll just go by league here. So this is my starting lineup for my one league, my 1 and 2 league. Rodgers, Elliott, Carson, Adams, Woods. Woods is in because Schuster game got postponed. Kittle, Gurley, Rams defense, and Harrison Butker. And my bench is Schuster because their game got postponed. DJ Moore, Zach Ertz, David Johnson, Bills defense, Allen Robinson, and Matt Ryan is on my bench. So what I'm hoping for is Adams to play. Now, Devontae Adams is questionable, so I'm going to give you a quick update on him. Adams' hamstring was limited at practice Thursday. That was yesterday. We got that report. We have not gotten anything on him today. I always say this on my Friday podcast, right? If you got Adams or any person that's on your questionable list, especially like a guy like Adams, because you really got to watch out because he does not play Sunday. He plays Monday night, so you got to really look close. You might have to take a chance. I took this last week. I also took it with Mike Evans in week 1. Mike Evans in week 1, they said he was a game time decision, but he played at 4 o'clock. Do I risk putting him in and him not playing? Do I risk putting him in because he's my best receiver, but him not playing, or one of my best receivers on my lineup, but him not playing? Or do I put in my backup, know he's going to play, but he might not put up the same production? I put in my backup, sure enough, it worked. Right? Same thing with, I had to make that decision with Adams last week. They said that they will give Adams a couple routes before the game in warm-ups to prove that he can play, so technically a game-time decision. And I had to choose. Do I put in Allen Robinson, which was eventually the right choice? Do I put in Allen Robinson, or do I put in Devontae Adams, hoping that at the Sunday night game he will be ready? Instead, I didn't. So tomorrow or Sunday, you're gonna have to do the same thing. You're gonna have to watch out for that. You're gonna have to make sure you are prepared, and you're gonna have to make sure you keep looking at that, right? Because it's no 1 o'clock game where you can quickly make the adjustment 5 minutes before the game. You gotta make a decision because, they play Monday night, so you guys have got to make that decision. Chris Carson is also questionable. Coach Pete Carroll said Carson knee has had an excellent week of practice. Stacey Joe Ross of 710 ESPN Seattle reports. So he's had an excellent week of practice, which is promising news. He is still, there's a very, very, very good chance that he is still might not play, but you got to be hopeful and hope that he does play. Just keep your eye out on him as well. That's for my other league. This is my lineup: Watson, Kenyon Drake, Robinson, Hill, Evans, Allen, Ertz, Jones Jr., Rams defense, Matt Prater. My bench is T.Y. Hilton, Bree, Steelers defense, Hunter Henry, Gibson, and Joshua Kelly. That's my bench. So that is my bench for my team there. So that's my bench. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully my lineup can do well for me this week. At the moment, I'm losing. I got nobody on this current lineup right now that is starting, that is questionable, which is interesting. So I'm going to have to decide on what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to have to decide on if I'm going to make a move or not. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna pick up Jerick McKinnon. I might play him over Jones Jr. Drop. Boom. Alright, yeah, so I just picked up Jerick McKinnon for my bench on my other league. Let's see what he does. He's had 2 back-to-back good weeks. McKinnon ribs practice in full Wednesday. Keanu Martin, 49ers official side reports. Oh, he practiced fully. Okay. I was going to say, it doesn't have a questionable next to his name, and now he says he's injured. I dropped Joshua Kelly, though, so I picked him up. I might put him in over Jones Jr. I'm not sure, though. Against that Eagles defense, they can't do anything. The Eagles can't do anything to begin with. I think I might put him in there. I'm going to put him in there for now and see what he does, because he had 2 back-to-back good weeks, but he also played against the Jets and the Giants, though, but he's playing against the Eagles, so he'll probably have another good week. You got to look at it that way as well. So that's my lineup there. It's going to be interesting. I think I will definitely win in one league probably. My other league, on the other hand, the league I just picked up Jerick McKinnon, it's going to be difficult. I'm already down by a lot, and it's just going to be difficult to win in that league. So I'm just going to have to really decide on what I want to do there. As for the games today in college, in NFL or MLB. The Padres played today, and the forget the other team. Let me just see what this deal is. Alright, so the MLB games today are the Marlins-Cubs. They got obviously postponed yesterday due to weather. You have the Cubs-Marlins. Cubs they have their backs against the wall. Here's the problem with the Marlins pitching. They have one solid pitcher. Outside of him, they struggle. Cubs have Yu Darvish on the mountain today at 2:08 p.m. Eastern Time. I actually think it's going to be a pretty good game. I think the Cubs win, and later on, I think the Padres win. They dominated last night against a good pitcher. I think they'll dominate again. I mean, they had so many home runs. I think they broke a record last night for home runs and stuff. So I think those are my 2 game picks. Game 2 for the Cubs series and Game 3 for the Padres series. So it should be fun. And then now college football. These are the games. AP Top 25. Clemson, Virginia. Give Clemson the win. BYU, Louisiana Tech. BYU to win. Tennessee, Missouri. Tennessee wins. Pitt, NC State. Pitt wins. Florida, South Carolina. Give Florida the win. Texas, TCU. Despite having a little bit of an iffy game last week against Texas Tech, I do think they win. Memphis, SMU. Give Memphis a win. North Carolina, Boston College. North Carolina wins. Oklahoma State, Kansas. Oklahoma State wins. Cincinnati, South Florida, I give Cincinnati to win. It's going to be a very, very good game. I think it's actually going to be a very close game. I do give Alabama the win against Texas A&M. I think it's going to be a close game, but I give Alabama the win. Hopefully I'm wrong because I don't like Alabama at all. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Mississippi State to win. Georgia, Auburn, this is the nightcap game. This is going to be really fun to watch. I'm really excited. I give Georgia the win. The only reason I do that is because I think their defense is slightly better. I think they have a good quarterback. Auburn's quarterback is Bo Nix is good. I don't know if I quite trust them quite yet. But Georgia, I think their defense prevails late. LSU, Vanderbilt, LSU wins. Oklahoma State, Iowa State. Oklahoma State, I think wins. I think they will. I think Oklahoma State will bounce back from last week. So Spencer Rattler, their quarterback, will, and hopefully their defense can as well. UCF, Tulsa, I give UCF to win. So those are my game picks for college football. Another great week of sports, or great weekend of sports coming up here. And by the way, the Yankees don't play at all this weekend. They play on Monday against Tampa Bay Rays. They'll start up that series, so they don't play yet. But they will definitely be playing Monday, which is exciting. So hopefully the Yankees can win those games. You know, it's going to be difficult against the Rays, but we just have to come out on. We're going to have to come out on top. We're going to have to hit well. We're going to have to pitch well. Pitching's big against the Rays. We can hit their pitching. We need to hit and pitch against them. We need to have a complete effort against the Rays. I mean, you can't beat them by just doing one thing. You got to have a complete effort against them. There's no other way around it. There's just no other way around it. You got to have a complete effort against them, and we're going to have to, and we can't be messing around either. We got to go out there and play like, you got to forget about what all happened in the regular season with that whole stable of guys. And I think the Rays are still paid attention to that. The Yankees got to completely wash out of their brains and realize it's the ALDS. The regular season, when those games happen, they mean absolutely nothing now. You're talking the ALDS. That means absolutely nothing. That's in the rearview mirror. Not even. It's all completely off the rearview mirror because you're too far from it. Right? You have to just focus on the games. You can't be, this guy threw at me. What the heck is going on? You can't do that. You got to be focused on the game. That's what you got to do. So, they're going to have to really perform well. The Yankees will have to perform well. And I think they will because what I saw out of the Indians, who are a good Indians team, I saw a lot of positive with 2 very good pitchers. Probably the Cy Young Award starting game 1. And they played very well against them. They do the same thing. Yankees-Rays, man. Big rivalry. So, Yankees, that's going to be a fun game on Monday. That should be exciting. I'll be previewing it here on the podcast like I always do. So, what are we sitting at? 49 minutes. So, yeah. So, kind of that's just all what I got to say for this week. I'm done for this week. So, I'll see you all back here on Monday. That is it for the podcast for the week. Like I say, take weekends off, Monday through Friday podcast. So, another good week of sports another good week of sports almost in the books. You still got Saturday and Sunday to wrap it all off. But another good week in sports. We got a lot of football coming up this week and a lot of good games. Chiefs, Patriots a good game. Bills, Raiders a good game. Niners, Eagles, all the primetime games are always fun to watch. What's that game at 1 o'clock? Oh, yeah, Cowboys, Browns is a very good game. Odd games, Texans, Vikings, 2 playoff teams that are 0-3. 2 playoff rosters that are 0-3. There's a lot of good games in the MLB, and I'm also very excited to see some of these college football games. There's some good college football games. I'm excited to see what Spencer Rattler, the young quarterback, does after a loss like that last week. If he can quickly erase that from his head and just bounce back and play well. Good defense in Iowa. Run a lot of good 3-4s, run a lot of good blitzes. Good defense in Iowa. Rattler's got to read that and make sure he makes good throws. Cannot force anything across the middle. I looked back and watched that game. He did a lot of forcing across the middle where there's 3 linebackers set across the middle. He's got to stop forcing that throw. He was forcing too many of those throws. He's got to stop that. So if the Oklahoma wants to win, they got to play well. Because that's the strength of Iowa State's team, is that defense. They run a lot of good 3-4s with 2 safeties over at the top. You can't be forcing throws deep like that. You don't got CeeDee Lamb anymore. You don't got that. So I think they will win, though. And I also think that Georgia game is just going to be insane. Oh, my gosh. That Georgia game is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be close all game. So, yeah. So, that's what I got for the podcast today. Jets already played, so no Jets on Sunday, but we do get to watch the rest of the NFL game. I actually don't mind that sometimes because, I watched them yesterday, but I actually don't mind it sometimes because, although I do love watching the Jets, I'm just saying, like, now this weekend I could watch a whole variety of games. I could switch on and off, switch from game to game, not have to just watch the Jets, But it should be a good weekend of football again. We got tomorrow college football, then Sunday the NFL, and then Monday's the Yankees on, so, whoever you're rooting for, hopefully they do good. Another great weekend of football ahead of us, which should be exciting. With all that being said, enjoy your weekend of football. I will see you all back here on Monday. So hope you enjoyed it. See you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.